and let us all do we can to build a better future.
The progressives are failing. The progressives are falling apart. The progressives are compromising. Now, of course, corporate media is making it seem like, again, that they somehow got this huge win, but the moderates are out there complaining. But let's be very clear here. There's a compromise that's being made. And again, we've talked about this on the show, whether the Democrat or at least the progressives would stand true to the $3.5 trillion, but it looks like that number might be lowering down just a bit. Let's play this first video from Case Study QB. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. He's doing such a fantastic job. Be sure to also subscribe to his YouTube channel and his AOC channel as well. And be sure to check out his work for the People's Gauntlet. Let's play this first video.
3.5 trillion to, let's say, 1.9 trillion. What of substance do you lose? Does that mean no universal pre-K? Does that mean no subsidized community college? I haven't heard what that loss of potentially $2 trillion or so, what that means in a real way. Do you have any sense of that?
Well, this is exactly what they're dealing with now. I mean, $2 trillion is still an awful lot of money. You can do a lot with $2 trillion, but you can't do everything that the Democrats were talking about. Remember, Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Jayapal, Pramila Jayapal, who's the head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, they were talking about a $6 to $10 trillion package. Now, you would probably, there would be difficulty on Sanders as push Medicare expansion to cover health, dental, and vision programs. Those are very expensive revisions to the, or expansions of the Medicare program. They may be in trouble, or you might not be able to fully phase them in for a couple of years. There could be problems with, community college, paying for community college. Senator Manchin is talking about means testing, which progressives hate, but that is one way to hold down the costs of some of these provisions. I mean, they're still, the House and Senate Democrats are still fighting over whether or not to make, to expand Medicare or to make Obamacare subsidies permanent. So all these are popular provisions. They're popular. If you take them, you pull them, Americans like them, but then the price tag on them is huge. And so the Democrats are looking, maybe we can do this for a couple of years and then phase it out. I mean, they'll play games on this just like Republicans played games on this in their 2017 tax cut. There's lots of ways you can skin this cat, so to speak, and we'll see what they try to come up with.
Yeah, and Leanne, in like the 20 seconds we have left, I mean, I think.
So let's be very clear here. Again, it's looking like the progressives are buckling. But there's more to this. We got AOC here talking about this budgetary crisis, this $3.5 trillion, and really what's going to happen with this bill. Let's play it.
I think that President Biden has been a good faith partner to the entire Democratic Party. He is, in fact, a moderate, and we disagree on certain issues, but he reaches out and he actually tries to understand our perspective, and that is why I am fighting for his agenda with the Build Back Better Act.
Are you surprised that he hasn't been able to deliver those Senate moderates that you're having those problems with?
No. I think that for quite some time, we have seen that some of these conservatives in the party, this is not about a team. It's about, individual sort of preferences. But that is okay. We're going to come together. I believe in the vision and commitment of our party for working people. And the thing is that we have to respect all families and all voters.
Okay, so before we pull up our next video, I just want to remind everyone that the progressives are okay with compromising on a bill that's supposed to help out working class Americans. But yet, these are the same progressive lawmakers, like AOC, for example, who are A-okay with, again, being bullied out of their no vote for defense funding for the Iron Dome in Israel from a no to a present. These are the same progressive lawmakers who, again, refuse to acknowledge, forced to vote for Medicare for All Town Hall, where 100,000 plus people attended. These are the same progressive lawmakers that even fight for the $15 minimum wage increase, that turned a blind eye as Sinema did her little fancy curtsy. Again, somehow we have money for the military-industrial complex. Somehow we have money for these jet fighters and tanks and ships, but we don't have money to help out the least fortunate here in this country. We don't have social programs to help out young children or senior citizens. We don't have enough money to help out with student debt or medical debt. We don't have enough money to invest into our infrastructure, but somehow we can fund endless regime change wars. And the progressives are compromising. Now, somehow, I guess maybe it won't be lowered to 1 trillion or 1.5 trillion, but the progressives are compromising. They're buckling because they have no backbone to start with. Let's pull up this next video from Case Study QB. Again, be sure to follow him on Twitter. He's doing such fantastic work. Let's play it.
This comes after the president met with Democrats on Friday, giving progressive Democrats a big boost in the negotiations by agreeing to link passage of his infrastructure and reconciliation bills together, even if it takes weeks or months to pass them. He also tried to appease moderates by telling the party that the price tag for the reconciliation package will have to come down, probably by more than $1 trillion. But progressives definitely came out of those meetings in a stronger position than did the moderates, which is going to ratchet up pressure on those two Democratic senators, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. More about them later. The president all but called them out today for holding things up.
Why were you unable, Mr. President, to close the deal with members of your own party on key parts of your legislative agenda last week?
I've been able to close a deal on 99% of my party. Two people.
It sounds like you're putting the blame squarely on 2 U.S. senators for your inability to close that deal, Senator Sinema and Senator Manchin. Am I incorrect? Is that who the blame lies with?
Look, I need 50 votes.
With so much on the line for the president and for Democrats, that pressure is only going to increase.
So, let's do a recap here. Who are the 2 U.S. senators that have visited the White House the most while Biden and Harris were trying to get this $3.5 trillion budget, at least in theory, trying to get this passed? It was Senator Sinema and Senator Joe Manchin. We covered on the show, again, how they have more meetings with the president and vice president. We've covered on the show how they're talking to the president and vice president more. See, this shows the weakness of the Biden-Harris administration, because for such a long time, you would think they would build up a good reputation and a good rapport with those 2 senators. But obviously, they don't have the strength to really keep them in line. And now, finally, I guess a lot of people now are saying that Senator Sinema and Senator Joe Manchin are the bad guys. But why was President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris constantly placating them? It's because in reality, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris agree with Senator Sinema and Senator Joe Manchin. And now there's talk about lowering the $3.5 trillion to what, $2.5 trillion? Oh, wow, fantastic. That's still not enough to rebuild our infrastructure or properly invest into it. At the bare minimum, we need $10 trillion. The rest of the world is leaving us behind. But yet we can invest trillions upon trillions of dollars in endless regime change wars. We can invest into these wars with the tanks and jet planes and ships, sending our troops off to die in some foreign country, fighting for oil. We have the money for that. I mean, look at Afghanistan. Trillions of dollars wasted in that. Plus, we got to add in the interest, too. But it's okay. Our United States government can flip the bill on that. But when it comes down, again, to taking care of our citizens, the measly $3.5 trillion is just too high. And now, here we have the progressives and Biden saying, well, we kind of got to win, but we lowered it. We told you on this show that they would buckle. We told you that they would cave in. Because that's what the progressives in the Democratic Party are really good at. Caving and bowing down to the centrist Democrats. The progressives should have been fighting from day one, the immediate time when Joe Biden got elected into office. As soon as he was sworn in. But they chose not to. We said this before on the show, that the progressives chose not to fight back when it came down to force the vote for Medicare for all. The progressive lawmakers turned a blind eye to the $15 minimum wage increase. The progressives have been turning a blind eye to every single issue. And then we have progressives like AOC turn their no vote to present when bullied by Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. There's no big win here. The real losers are us, the citizens. So we have to push back. But we have to start demanding more. And we cannot rely on these politicians to be our heroes. They're not. They never gave a damn about us in the first place. Continuing on, I want to pull up this article. Has to deal with Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in New York argued Sunday that the best way to lower the price tag of Democrats' emerging reconciliation package may be to shorten the duration of proposed social programs instead of gutting their funding or removing them from the bill entirely. Acknowledging that the dropping the legislation's top line price tag below $3.5 trillion over a decade will likely be necessary to win the must-have votes of Senator Sinema and Senator Joe Manchin and other corporate-backed conservative Democrats, Representative AOC said that one of the ideas that's out there is fully fund what we can fully fund, but maybe instead of doing it for 10 years, we fully fund it for 5 years. What does that even mean, AOC? I'll tell you what it means, folks. It means that I really don't have the will or the power to really fight back. Even though, again, let's say in theory, those 15 congressmen and women who are on the Force to Vote petition, they can form together to be their own voting bloc and really be a thorn in the side of ice cream Nancy Pelosi, good old Nancy. But again, they're choosing not to. Proponents argue such an approach would ensure that people experience tangible benefits from the new programs, thus increasing the likelihood that they'll be extended in the future. There are so many different programs in the budget bill, she noted in appearance of CBS Face the Nation on Sunday. First of all, I think it's unfortunate that we have to even, as Democrats, have a discussion about not having child tax credit. I think it's unfortunate that we have to compromise with ourselves for an ambitious agenda for working people. I believe that free community college should be the standard. Okay, great. These are words I agree with. But AOC, you're the same person that, again, said that the Biden-Harris administration was exceeding expectations and how everyone was so excited how progressive Biden was and how he's a new FDR. He is unable to really pass legislation to invest into our country. He can't do it. And when it even comes down to other progressive issues, the Biden-Harris administration bows down to a non-elected representative called a Senate parliamentarian. How weak is Biden in regards to this? How weak is he in regards to dealing with two senators that seem to get away with almost anything? I'll tell you why. No one's holding him accountable. Corporate media constantly puts on kid gloves in regards to Biden. And the progressives that we elected in the United States Senate and House, what are they doing? They're being silent because they're not fighters. They were never going to raise the ruckus. They were never going to fight for a $15 minimum wage increase. They were never going to fight for Medicare for all. They're never going to fight for anything. So what's the solution? We have to look at ballot initiatives. We have to look at building infrastructure for continuous general strike. We have to look at building infrastructure to continue building strong third parties. We cannot rely on these politicians. The Democrats, the progressives, are celebrating this kind of quote-unquote win, but it's a compromise win. They're lowering it down. They're going to lower it down, like we said. They're backing down. They got something. They got crumbs. How wonderful.